beginning of this week, YouTube announced a greater rollout of the YouTube Create app on iOS to all the same countries that have had it on Android for some time. Now, a little while ago on this channel, when it first came out on Android here in Australia, I did a bit of a breakdown video. This is a bit of an update to that because now there's more features. I'm going to show you on the iPhone rather than the Android. And we're going to dive in and look at the new AI features and then all the nuts and bolts of what you might need to know when using the YouTube Create app. Let's jump in. What I've done here is I'm screen recording my iPhone. You can see here there's a YouTube Create app ready to go. It's actually what you're looking at right now over in the side panel there. Let's open up the app. Now I'm already logged in. So you should log in with the YouTube channel that you're editing for. So if you have more than one channel, then up the top here where the little profile picture is, near that cat, you can see here, it's my default channel. Say I was editing for this channel, the mobile channel, then I would just tap on that and then pick my mobile channel from the list. Now here on this sort of welcome page or splash page or whatever you want to call it, we've got some options to get started. First of all, we can quite simply create a project to start from scratch as an empty project that you can just start editing, bring in your images, your videos, and away you go. There's an option here to edit with AI. This is a fairly new feature, which I will do a separate tutorial for in the near future. The third option here is to generate a video, which basically is a Veo 3, Google Veo 3, creating a video. So this is a similar thing that you could already do in the YouTube app. When you're creating a short, you can generate a video. And it's going to give you the first time you go to use it, it's going to give you a bit of a disclaimer, privacy notice, all that sort of stuff. And here, it's a generative AI, so you give it a prompt of what you want it to happen in this video. 2 dogs running on water, giving you some examples here. Vintage car doing donuts, giant robot walking through Times Square. Let's do a demo real quick. Let's go giant robot walking through Times Square, but let's change it up and maybe a giant, instead of walking through Times Square, giant robot, let's do a giant marshmallow. I'm getting Ghostbuster vibes here. And we can pick a style, which is vintage, clay. If you go none, it's going to sort of try and default to like a real life. So let maybe leave to none. And lighting is, as you can see here, we can add like a lighting effect. We're not going to go with any of those. We're just going to generate this. Now we're going to give it a few moments for it to generate because, as you know, this goes up to Gemini Veo or Google Veo and starts. Now what it will first do is give you several images. Now I did say marshmallow. It looks like a marshmallow. I didn't say the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. So what we need to do then is pick one of these 4 as our starting point for the actual video. So we're starting, I reckon, let's go with the first one because the look on the face is sort of a little bit more, could be a little bit evil, could be like just determined. Some of them, a couple of the other ones look a little bit more cuter than anything. So we're going to go with this one. And then we could just use that as a still image, or we're going to create a video. And just as a reminder, while this is generating, you can do something similar in the YouTube Shorts tool on the YouTube app already. This is if you want to create something as a starting point for a bigger edit. Obviously, it's going to be vertical, so you could turn it into a YouTube Short, something like that. Okay, we're going to let this loop. Now the marshmallow sort of walks out of shot, and a lot of people walk into the shot behind him. I guess they're supposed to be like the crowd in Times Square. This girl in front is taking a picture of the Marshmallow Man. Although she seems to be like taking a picture of just like Times Square. She's not really, she could be. Now we can try again to get it to generate a different video based on the same image. Or we can use video. You can see the little watermark at the bottom. It says Veo. We can rate it thumbs up, thumbs down. I think that's reasonable. But for the purposes of what we're doing today, we're going to use video. And then what that's going to do, that's going to pop it into a timeline where we can do some editing. Now, what we can also do here is a bunch of things. So let's just get acquainted with some of the default buttons here. Now, this would be the same as if you created a video from scratch or just imported a couple of clips. This is effectively the first clip for our video, which, you know, as we add videos, it may not become the first clip. We might move it back a bit. Okay, so what you can see here, let's start in the top. You've got the home button. That'll take you back to the home page, the starting page. If we go across, the 3-dot menu there is where you can toggle the aspect ratio and access the help and the feedback. Underneath that is the line with the arrow going up. That's the export button. We're going to use that at the end. The little square sort of image thing is just basically going to zoom right in. So if we want to do a playback and have a closer look, we can zoom in, or we zoom back out to the edit mode where we've got the timeline at the bottom. When I've got something selected here, I can have a choice of either hitting the rubbish bin to delete, or I can just pick a point here. Maybe as soon as that goes out of shot, maybe I just want to trim it early like that. I could just go trim, and then we've got the clip cut into 2 parts, and we might want to delete that second part. So then we hit delete, and then that's your basics out in the top level. And then we can do things all across the bottom, a lot of options that we're going to dive into just a second. What I'm going to do first of all is show you on this timeline here, you've got your duration. The second number obviously stays the same. That's the full duration. The first number that changes as you scroll is where you are in that 6-second period. Now, if I need to add more clips to this, I want to click the plus button. So I'm going to click the plus button here, and it's going to take me into my library. I could generate more stuff with Veo if I wanted to. This is probably showing me everything that's in my camera roll right now, but what I could do is just go videos and go and find a video that I want to input. This 3 minutes and 38, that's something that probably needs to be edited down. I could import that. And what that's going to do, that's going to bring it in and put it right at the end of the timeline currently. And it's just taking a second because it was a 3-minute video. Okay, it's a screen recording actually, but I could like go through and then chop this up. So if this is the one I'm chopping up, say I'm keeping Mr. Marshmallow, and then at the start here, I don't want all this stuff that's, say I don't want all this menu, and I just want to have it sort of come in there. So right at that point, I've got that clip selected. I'm just going to hit the trim. And we know already that I don't want the front part of that trim. So I'm just going to click that and delete. Now I'm going to keep this one selected. So then we can look at the options below. In the bottom, we also got another split button in case you don't want to go to the one at the top. You can go to the one at the bottom. Then we've got filters. Filters are your standard filters. These are pretty much exactly the same as the filters that are in the Shorts tool. So we're not going to do a filter on this. There are effects. Again, these are similar to, I don't know if all the effects from the Shorts tool are in here, but these are many of the same things. So I can apply an effect to the pre-recorded video. I could apply to all, would apply to every clip in the video, but I don't want to do that. Adjust is your brightness, contrast, highlights, shadows, white point, black point, all your tints and skin tones and warmths and sharpen. So if you need to adjust your video in any way in terms of clarity, that's all in the adjust. Now I can actually remove background, which is interesting. I've never used this before, so let's click on it. Cut out, chroma key, or none. So it's basically automatically doing a using AI to cut me out of the video. I could use chroma key, but I don't have if I had a green screen, then I could use that, but I don't. So I'm going to use cut out. I'm going to go done. So this section of the video, there's nothing behind me. I could instantly put something behind me in some way. Of course, you've got transitions. This is the transitions to apply at the front of the clip that you've highlighted and the back of the clip. So you got start and finish. And so then I could like do a simple dissolve. Actually, what I should do, I've got this clip selected, so that's perfect. The transition, I should dissolve at the start, and at the end I should dissolve as well. And then get done. So you can do effects. Now I can keep scrolling along here. The next category is the audio category where there's volume, and it's going to apply. It's adjusting the volume on the selected clip. Remember, so maybe if I select this one and then go across to volume, I can adjust the volume quite simply, slide it back and forth, or mute it, which I'm not going to do on this one. And I can also do an audio cleanup. So if I have a bit of background noise or the audio is a bit rough or a bit low, audio cleanup might like tidy it up. Now it's automatically just going to apply the audio cleanup to the audio on that clip. There's no settings. It's just going to use AI to figure it out the best it can. Audio cleanup removes background noise. Tap to turn it off. So then if we don't like the background noise removal, then we can just turn it off again. Now a little bit more advanced features for the selected clip. We can speed. We can go up to 10 times speed or slide down to 0.1 of a playback speed. We can also rotate the video back and forth and reset because I don't want to rotate it. There's replace, where I can take that whole section I've selected and replace it with, take that section out and replace it with something else. Probably not something I want to do in this one. Rearrange is to be able to pick that up and move it around. Of course, I can delete the whole clip, so instead of using the delete at the top, it's also there at the bottom. And I can duplicate the clip. So now I've just duplicated that. So that whole section has been taken and then moved to the end. So now I've got a repeated section of clip. So now I've got like 6 minutes of clip. Now one thing you can do, now that's everything in that section. If I clip down, then it's going to give me the settings for the project overall where I haven't got any part of this selected. As I said, when nothing's selected, these are the options you have. You can add an overlay. This is where you can add in an image or another video, live photos. You can generate something as well as a generate button up there. So maybe if I go, I want to add that. And so what that does is that adds that there. Now while that's selected, I have the similar sort of tools in terms of, you know, splitting and filters and that, but there is a different one here, animation, because this is over the top of the actual main video. You can animate this. So we could say, hey, I want this logo thing. Now I can move it on the screen, by the way. But if I want to animate that, I can do the animate in and out, or start and finish. So I can have it wipe in, wipe out, dissolve. And then there's some more like advanced sort of actions. I don't even know what ambient does. Does something weird there. And there's a duration at the bottom, of course. It's going to default. Usually most things default around the 1 second mark. And maybe I want it to do something different on the way out. Now the other things that you can do, because we've just done overlay, we can add text, of course. We can do it with a plain text or a text effect. Plain text is just like, and you can see now that the text is selected, we have all the text options. We've got edit, so that means I can type it, style. We can add some animation as well, rotation. This little button, by the way, in the middle here is keyframing, so you can do some basic keyframing as well. I'm not going to add any rotation to that. You can move the title to front and back, so you can change the layers if you happen to have multiple things there. Is delete and duplicate as usual at the end. So that's the text. Now this text you can't really do much with. We can do style though. Style has a whole set of options like size, the font that we want to use. Let's go to the classic bangers. The color is the color of the text. I'm going to go yellow. Background means, is it going to put like a black square background? If you don't, you just leave it blank. Format is going to be your bold, italic, underline, and your alignment left, right justified or center justified. Now, do we want to outline on it? Gives it a bit of clarity, and then add some thickness to it. So that's starting to look good in terms of that. And then you can do a bit of There's a bit of shadow on that. Soft and hard instead of having to add some sort of blur. You got only two options, and of course you can adjust the opacity of the shadow. The one thing the shadow doesn't have is like distance, and I can't really tell how big that is right now, but we're just gonna lock that part in just so we can see the text. Okay, we've got more to go through in the main menu of things we can add. The next is stickers. So you got YouTube provided stickers like your likes and subscribes and all those sorts of things, all the good stuff. A little bit of animation to them. You can go through and pick some interesting stickers there. So we might do like that. And of course, while it's selected, we can squeeze it down and just sort of stick it somewhere so it just sort of pops up. Some other options under stickers, of course. You can search a GIF. Now, I'm not sure if it's using a particular service. Let's have a look. They're not telling us we're using Tenor or Giphy or anything like that. Oh no, it's Tenor. You agree to Tenor's terms of service. So anything on Tenor, basically, you can bring in. So you can just do a search and go subscribe, even though we just did a subscribe. Let's do another subscribe. So it's going to quickly search Tenor and give us like some animated buttons and pushy things. Green screen variations. We could do the comment guy who looks like, who's he supposed to be, George Washington or something. And one thing we could do to him, because we're selected, we could probably remove background on him too. Look, we can remove background on him. And finally, you can just add like animated emojis as well, but we're not going to do that right now. Now, generate video, this is just another way of going in and doing that same generation that we did at the start. And we can add that as an overlay or something goes on top. Now, sounds. This could be like music and background music and stuff. And they're providing some interesting things like music, zero-cost royalty-free soundtracks from the YouTube audio library is built into this. You can also go with sound effects from the audio library, or if you've got music you want to use yourself. This is currently looking at stuff in my iTunes library, but I can import my own audio. So if I've got something maybe in the Files app that I've downloaded previously, like I got some stuff here from Creator Mix. Now I like the steamroller for my live stream intro. And then all of a sudden we're going to have that play. Now that's going to be like at 100% playing underneath the video. So if we're doing that as a background, we're going to need to go in and adjust the volume on that. We can do all that sort of stuff. Drop it down a long way. We can add fades to the front and back. We can drag the sides and trim them, which is something I haven't shown you too much of, but we can say, we actually want to start here. And then we might go to the end of the track, the whole track fitted there. You can see we've got a bit of a fade out there as well. So maybe we want to use the end of it or anything like that. So we can trim it up there. We can cut it up. We can trim the middle. We can do all sorts of things there. Now, while we're in this audio, we can also ask it to find the beats. So it will go and find the beats in the song and mark them out if we want to edit to the beat. There's also the same audio cleanup there as well. The next thing we can do is a voiceover. This is where we can, if we've cut together some footage, it's just like visual and there's no A-roll talking type thing, we can jump in, or even if there is and then we don't go into a montage, we can record a voiceover on this section. So I might go there, and it's asking to access the microphone on my phone. And then this is the same voiceover system that they have in the Shorts tools. I can tap or hold to record. So I want to like hold to record and then let go if it's short. If it's longer, then I want to tap it and it will give me a countdown. Hello, this is Doug doing a voiceover over top of my own A-roll. And if I'm sort of happy with that, you can see now it's underneath the main track of video because it is audio. And we can go in and We can do all the usual audio stuff there, split it, adjust the volume and the fades, clean it up if we had background noise, all the usuals. Okay, back out to the main. Also, we can do captions. So if you're used to using maybe CapCut to add captions, this will add captions for free. Okay, have captions created for you by letting YouTube analyze your content on its servers. So if we go next, now it says what sound source. We want to go sound from videos, language spoken. We want to tell it that it is English. Well, not French, English. Right now you can do these languages. Everything on screen, there's no scrolling there, that's it. Some of those, so I think there's a lot of crossover with the same languages that are in auto dubbing, but I think auto dubbing has more than that. Anyway, we're doing English, create. Now it says you can keep editing while you wait. So it's basically going through, once it's done, it's going to drop it in over top as a layer on the videos. Finish generating captions, there we go. I was going to move on and sort of wait for the captions. Okay, so it didn't do a caption for that because there's no speaking in the marshmallow part. It says sound from videos, and you can see here, you can see the captions are in this sort of, it's highlighted in this yellow here. We can go in into the style section and figure out how big captions we want. And as with titles, we can go in, figure out what font we want to use for captions. Obviously in here as well, we can do things like color, because we might say, I want all the captions in yellow. Well, that's orange. That's orange actually. Yeah, that's more of a yellow. You can see it's already added a 60% opacity, radius 10 background. Now that radius is like how round the corners are on the background. It can be radius 0, which means it's a rectangle, sort of squared corners, and then as we pull it across, they're more rounded and more rounded and more rounded. Let's just leave it at like 20%. Obviously the background color, we can change that. And I think black, a light color on like a black is good. Format, am I going to left justify it, right justify it, or am I going to like bold it? I think bolding it can be good if that's something, because these are burnt in captions. We probably don't need an outline in this case. Probably go with that and we can say we're done. So when we play that, you can see the captions sort of pop up. It's basically, now what I can do, if I find that anything looks weird or is not captioned correctly, I can actually select that and go into edit, and then whichever page I'm on, you can see if I scroll up and down, you can see the time, it's got the timing on there for the caption. So I can go in and change every word that is wrong along the way. For this demonstration, I don't need to change anything because we're not going to do anything else. Now we've pretty much hit all the tools that we can use in terms of adding things. There's another option there again to aspect ratio, but if you're that far into the video and you've already sort of made it one way, then it's probably a little bit late to do it, but you can do it at the start. Remember, you could also do it up in the 3-dot menu. Usually it's going to default when you start a project to the clip that you're importing and use that as a basis. It'll be either vertical, horizontal, or square. They're the 3 options. Let me just show you those options. 16 by 9, 9 by 16, and 1 by 1, which we're just going to click out of. Now, the all important export. Say my project is done. Now, this isn't a video that I would ever publish, but hey, this is the video for our demo. I want to click the up arrow here, the one that I mentioned. Now I can do some settings here. I can change frame rates, but it's going to default to 30 frames per second, so stick with that. That's fine. File format, you can't change that, but it's an MP4. And then you can export to 4K, 1080p, or 720p. Now, if you're doing a short, then 1080p is all you need. But if you're doing a horizontal video, which you can edit horizontal videos, regular videos, then maybe you want to export at 4K. Very rarely do you want to export at 720p, but it's an option if you want it. Now, if I click export now, it's going to export it to my camera roll or gallery if you're on an Android. And then it's going to, let's do it. Then it's going to give me the option, because the video is not too long, or we're going to get, okay. It started off well, but there we go. It's going to slow down a bit along the way. Yeah, it's nearly there. As you can see, that's exported to the camera roll. Your video has been exported and saved to this device. Now this is where we have the option to upload it to YouTube. To upload to YouTube, remember at the beginning we set what channel we're on. In this case, it's this channel, the Doug Hewson Hawaii Team Mobile channel. If I click upload right now, it's going to send that to my YouTube channel using the upload flow for either shorts or regular video. In this case, it was vertical content, so it's going to be short. Now, if I go upload, and what it's going to do is jump to the YouTube app. You can see in the top left-hand corner, we've just come from the YouTube Create app, and we've got the normal shorts upload flow in this case because we did vertical video, and I can do all my settings. So we can, of course, click the pencil and then scroll through all this stuff that's in here. Is just nonsense. So let's just use that because that'll capture people's attention. And then we, of course, when we do this, we can add text for the thumbnail. Okay, once we've put the text in, we can move it to where we want it and do all this thing. I want to send it, there we go. I could add a filter as well, but I'm not going to bother adding a filter, so let's say yes to that. That's my thing. I can give it a caption, which is effectively a title. It is the title, because you can go back later and put in a description. So this is the title. And so yeah, I can go through all the whole normal upload process, so I can go and add a related video, do all the things, see if it's altered content or not. All the business. You can see it doesn't give me everything. It just gives me some of the key things, like shorts remixing and related video, pay promotion and brands, invite a collaborator, turn comments on and off. I can maybe just say, yeah, only subscribe to members. That's a new feature, by the way. If you want to know more about that, I did a short over on my main channel recently on this new comment option. Now at this point, I can just upload short. And now what that's doing is you can see down here in my list here, it says uploading, getting a little dialogue there. You can see a little arrow with a circle, animation. So we just wait till that's done. And then that's on my channel. Potentially, if I left it public, that would go public straight away, or I can, as I do, I didn't generally upload mine unlisted, and I go back and do stuff and release them at specific times. That's how I usually do my shorts. And you can see now it's uploaded to the channel. Thank you for YouTube alerting me to that. Now I can tap the YouTube Create and jump back to here. Now this is done effectively. I could share. Now share is just like using the share sheet on iOS. I could save the video again, but I've already got it saved. I could save it to the Files app. I could airdrop it to somebody, different things like that if I wanted to, but we're not going to do that. I'm going to X out of that, and what that does is that puts me back to the main menu where I can see my project history. Now both of these projects that I've made in the app here are both untitled. I can rename them here, so I'm going to go Marshmallow. This one here earlier is the video I did about comments, the comment replies. So that's the YouTube Create app. That's how it is currently here at the end of 2025, always rolling out new features. And the announcement this week, of course, is that they've rolled out on iOS to all the same countries that have it on Android. It's been out on Android for a couple of years now. So what do you think? Is this an app that looks like it's something that you might use to create shorts or create YouTube videos? It's another option to your CapCuts and your iMovies and your LumaFusions. I think it's quite a simple app to use. It's easy to use. It doesn't have too many whiz-bang features, but it has the basics. And I think that's a good start for it. And it's improved a lot since when I did the first tutorial, which you can find linked up when I did it originally on my Pixel when the Android version came out a year or two ago. In the meantime, this is Doug. And go watch this video next. Catch you later.